After pushing 6 of the most popular full synthetic oils through a brutal 200,000-mile endurance test, spanning real-world conditions like freezing morning starts, scorching heat waves, long highway pulls, short-trip city driving, idling in traffic, towing loads, and everything in between, the results were far more dramatic than anyone expected. Out of all 6 oils, only one came out looking like it could easily survive another 200,000 miles. The rest? Some thickened into sludge, others failed viscosity stability halfway through their intervals, and one oil even caused scoring on the cam lobes after only 40,000 miles. And the biggest shock of all? One brand that most drivers trust blindly, one that's praised in online forums and sold everywhere as a premium synthetic, ended up producing the highest wear metals of the entire test cycle. Even more surprising, 3 of the worst performing oils are consistently rated highly online, marketed as advanced protection, and frequently recommended by mechanics and enthusiasts. Yet under real-world use, they nearly destroyed the engine from the inside out. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened. I'll reveal the 6 oils tested, the exact conditions of the 200,000-mile real-world driving simulation, the cold start and high-temperature data, the sludge and varnish findings, the wear metal analysis, and which brands failed miserably. And of course, we'll uncover the one synthetic oil that outperformed every competitor in almost every measurable category. Stay until the end because the top-ranking oil is not the one most mechanics typically recommend, and the worst performer is probably sitting in thousands of cars right now, causing long-term wear without the drivers ever noticing. If there's one thing I can guarantee after you hear what we found, you will never choose engine oil the same way again. To make this test as accurate and unbiased as possible, we avoided the typical YouTube 15-minute bench test gimmicks. Instead, we used a single 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine and ran it through 6 full oil cycles, each lasting roughly 33,000 miles. For each cycle, we installed a brand new, high-quality oil filter to eliminate contamination variables. The 6 oils tested were Mobil 1 Extended Performance, Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic, Pennzoil Ultra Platinum GTL Synthetic, Castrol Edge, Amsoil Signature Series, and Liquimoli Leichtlauf High Tech. Oil analysis was conducted every 5,000 miles to monitor viscosity changes, oxidation levels, wear metals, fuel dilution, and additive depletion. After each 33,000-mile interval, we completely tore down the engine, inspecting sludge accumulation, varnish formation, timing chain wear, bearing condition, cam lobe surfaces, piston ring mobility, and oil control groove cleanliness. To ensure accuracy, we worked with Blackstone Labs for oil reports and a retired Toyota powertrain engineer with decades of teardown experience. This wasn't sponsored, wasn't theoretical, and wasn't based on marketing claims. This was measured, repeatable, long-term engine science conducted over the course of years, not minutes. Before diving into the results of the 6 oils, it's important to understand why engine oil becomes even more critical after the first 50,000 miles. Most people believe oil matters the most when an engine is new, but that's completely wrong. After 50,000 miles, blow-by increases as piston rings lose tension, oil contamination rises, and heat exposure speeds up oxidation. In direct injection engines, fuel dilution becomes a major issue. Timing chains begin to stretch, variable valve timing components rely more heavily on clean, stable oil pressure, and turbos, if the engine has one, start running hotter as internal varnish builds up. These compounding factors mean that 2 engines with the same mileage can look completely different on the inside depending entirely on the oil used throughout their life. As the Toyota engineer put it during one of the teardowns, he said that by the 150,000-mile mark, the oil brand doesn't just matter, it decides the engine's fate. Now let's talk about one of the most important parts of the test, cold starts. According to SAE data, around 70% of engine wear happens during cold starts. At lower temperatures, oil is thicker, slower to circulate, and more likely to allow momentary metal-to-metal contact. When we tested the 6 oils for cold start viscosity, stability, and film strength, the results lined up closely with their chemical foundations. The best cold start performers were AmSoil Signature Series and Liquimoli, both maintaining strong hydrodynamic film strength and showing very low wear metal formation early in the cycle. Valvoline Advanced and Pennzoil Ultra Platinum formed the middle group, no major failures, but noticeably higher early cycle wear. The worst performers were Castrol Edge and, surprisingly, Mobil 1 Extended Performance. Castrol's oil film collapsed at just 32 degrees F, and Mobil 1 produced higher than expected iron wear during multiple cold start cycles. And yes, this is the moment most viewers start asking, how is Mobil 1 ranked so low? The results get even more surprising from here. One of the most brutal sections of the 200,000-mile oil trial was the high-temperature torture test. Engines today routinely see temperatures between 230 and 260 degrees F, especially during summer highway driving, towing, mountain climbs, stop-and-go traffic and heat waves, and even during spirited driving in otherwise ordinary commuter cars. As engines age, they run hotter due to varnish buildup, reduced heat transfer, and worn components. Weak oils quickly oxidize, shear down, or thicken, creating a dangerous cycle. Hotter oil leads to more oxidation, which thickens the oil, which traps more heat, which accelerates breakdown even further. This test separated real synthetics from those that only sell marketing synthetics. At high temperatures, 2 oils immediately stood out: AmSoil Signature Series and Liquimoli Like Lauk High Tech. They barely oxidized, barely thickened, and kept their viscosity within just a 2 to 3% loss after 33,000 miles. That level of stability is almost unheard of for long drain intervals. Meanwhile, Valvoline Advanced and Pennzoil Ultra Platinum performed well but not exceptionally. Pennzoil's GTL base oils kept the engine extremely clean, but its antioxidant additives begin degrading during long periods of high-temperature idling, like sitting on a hot summer highway for hours. Then came the bottom-tier performers, Castrol Edge and Mobil 1 Extended Performance. Both suffered significant oxidation by 15 to 20,000 miles. Mobil 1 even produced light varnish in the piston oil control ring area, a sign of borderline chemical breakdown. Castrol fared even worse, forming amber deposits early and showing the highest viscosity increase in the test. Once the temperature trials were complete, we moved to the most visually revealing part of the experiment: sludge, varnish, and deposit formation. This is where we saw the true difference between marketing claims and real chemistry. Every vital area of the engine was inspected: the valve cover, timing chain compartment, oil control rings, crankcase walls, cam lobes, and the turbo feed line for engines equipped with forced injection. The cleanest internal condition by far belonged to Liquimoli. It was nearly spotless, with no significant varnish and zero sludge. AmSoil followed closely with only faint amber staining that wiped away easily. Pennzoil Ultra Platinum came in third, its GTL base oil technology once again showing its ability to resist sludge formation. Valvoline Advanced showed light amber varnish, the type more associated with additive fatigue than severe heat damage. Mobil 1, however, produced moderate varnish across multiple teardown sections, nothing catastrophic, but certainly far from what most drivers expect from a brand marketed as a premium synthetic. The biggest disappointment was Castrol Edge. It produced visible sludge, sticky deposits, and the thickest varnish of the entire lineup. One mechanic watching the teardown shook his head and said, "Castrol markets hard, but chemistry doesn't care about commercials." The deposit test revealed the truth: synthetics are not created equal. Now the moment every mechanic waits for, the full 200,000-mile teardown. After running all 6 oils through 33,000-mile intervals and performing complete disassembly cycles, we tore the engine down one final time at the 200,000-mile mark. Every component was analyzed: the cylinder head, pistons, rings, camshafts, bearings, valve cover, the timing system, and the turbo feed line for engines equipped with forced injection. Timing chain wear was one of the clearest performance indicators. Engines that ran on AmSoil and liquid moly showed almost no measurable stretch. The chain guides were polished with zero gouging, exactly what you want to see after long-term use. Engines that ran on Mobil 1 and Castrol Edge, however, showed clear elongation and darker burn marks on the guides, indicating shear stress from oil breakdown and rising friction over time. Piston ring condition told an even clearer story. Liquimoly produced the cleanest rings with the least carbon buildup and the best mobility. The grooves and drainback holes looked surprisingly clean for such high mileage. Castrol Edge produced the worst results: carbon-packed drainback holes and sticky oil control rings, a classic sign of oxidation and film collapse under heat. Next came the cam lobe inspection, and this section shocked even the Toyota engineer assisting with analysis. AmSoil and liquid moly cams were nearly flawless, smooth, shiny, and showing almost